Alright guys, and there it is. As you can see today, we did get in our harness bar. Finally, after a 3-week back order, we finally got it in, and to get the exact color I wanted, I have to wait for it. But today we're going to go ahead and pop this thing open, show you how to fully install it with all the proper bolts and washers, as well as take the Sparco straps that we personally have, or whatever kind of straps you have, and how to connect it to this bar. So let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, and there we go. As you can see, it's already laid out over here. I got all my bolts, washers, everything I need. All my tools up here, which I'm going to go over right now, and that way you guys can get fully prepared. I did mock this up already just to make sure everything fit perfect, and that way it didn't take forever to make this video. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. First things first is this is just a tool layout of what you're going to need. You will need an 18 wrench, 17, 14, and a 13. You will also need an 8mm Allen key and a 16mm and a 17mm socket. And I also got this little leveling thing with a magnet on here so I can make sure that I adjust the arms to make it all even. And you also need just a skinny little flathead. You can use one of those, or you can use one of those plastic ones for taking off panels. But either way. Jumping straight down, you're first going to notice I actually wrapped this up with saran wrap, because with just messing with it, I already nicked it in one little tiny spot, and this is painted, so it seems to be really easy to, and with all these metal tools that we're going to be using in a tight spot, I wanted to make sure that we didn't run into that again. Alright, so from that whole kit, it being a universal style, you're only going to need a couple out of there, and then we actually went to Ace Hardware and got a couple more bolts that I'm going to show you in a second, which the exact thread fitment and everything. But you're going to need your black out of that kit. You're going to need the black Allen key tops for both of those sides. You're also going to need just this regular, it's like a 13, 14 style bolt. It's about 1.5 inches long. You're going to need both washers with the lock nut for both of those sides. You're going to need these little tiny washers to be able to gap some stuff up. And then also out of the car, the only other thing that you're going to need besides all the stuff you get at Ace is going to be this one bolt, which is the driver's side original seat belt down on the bottom there. You're going to see that. And it does have that little gap, but I'm going to show you how to fill that up, and we're going to bolt this up. Alright, so now onto the bolts that you're going to want to get from your local hardware store. Yeah, I did personally run to Ace, and I went and got an M10 bolt. So this is the M10 thickness here, just with a lock washer on there and a couple washers. And that's going to be the 1.5 inches long, so 1.50 M10. Alright, you're going to need one of those. You're also going to need 2 of these bolts with washers right here. These bolts are going to be the 716-20, and these are the 1.5 inch long ones. I also bought the 2-inch just in case when I'm fitting this, if the 2-inch just work a little better, I'll use those. But as far as fitment went the first time around, the 1.5 inch worked perfect. Alright, now on top of the 2 little spacers that you get with the universal kit that comes with this, you're also going to buy just a ton of washers. So I would buy a ton of washers because you're going to be gapping this thing just a little bit to make it fit as perfect as possible. So go ahead and just get like a little combo of a couple of these things like that. Also, you're going to see 2 bigger style washers like this. And just to get right into it right now, the one bolt I showed you on the other side, this one right here, that was your stock bolt, the one stock bolt that you actually use from the car still. It does have that little gap right there, so you're actually going to take that and get a bolt that's big enough to be able to go over it like that, and that way that doesn't have a problem and you can flatten it out completely. Alright, so jumping right back into the car, as you saw the last video, we did just strap these up to the baby strap, so today you're just going to reach in there and detach these. Alright, with both those attached, I'm just going to, since they're on metal, take these for now. I'm just going to put those way up. Knock out the other side. And same deal, you're just going to take these 2 other ones. I'm going to reach up and put them inside the cup holders. Alright guys, and jumping right over to the passenger side. As you guys do remember in the previous videos, we took our stock bracket that was sitting upwards like this, hooking onto the back of the original seat. We flattened it down and put that back down so we could still have our stock seatbelt. Since then, when we installed the seatbelts, we went ahead and cut off just this little back piece right here. And then that way we could go ahead and flatten this down. It still has its movability and it's good to go. So what I've done already is I went ahead and just took this bolt out right here, and that was where the stock original seatbelt was going up. So just take that bolt out, and then you're going to come up here, and the first thing you're going to do is notice that I have already taken mine out. But this is like, again, because I went ahead and pre-fit this stuff up. First thing you're going to do is grab your flathead screwdriver or your piece to take off panels, your plastic piece, and you're going to be going right in between this, and you're going to be popping that out, and you're going to be taking off this whole little section right here. As soon as you pop that off, you're going to go ahead and see this. As you guys can see, I popped this thing off already. Down here, just to show you the inside, so it's a little less confusing. I mean, these things are just holding it in. So you're just going to go ahead and get your hands in between there and just pry off the top to get it past a couple of those little black pieces, and then you just pop the whole thing off, taking that panel off. When you get back up here, the first thing you're going to see is you'll have that little 10mm and or Phillips screwdriver. You're going to go ahead and take that bolt out up there. You're just going to pop that little thing open right here, and you also have a 10mm back there. So you're going to take that down. This is the same deal. It's got some little white clips. You're going to pop this off, and then it's going to look like this afterwards. So after you got this off over here, of course showing the piece already, that little clip right there is on the bottom. That's the only one that's a pain to pull off, or that actually holds it in, besides your 10mm down there and your other 10mm that goes down there. So then jumping right back over to this, again, I'm sorry that I already took this off, but you're gonna go ahead and just take off your screw right there, which I think it's like a 15 or something like that. You're gonna take that off to attach that. And down here, as you can see, I already tucked my seatbelt back here, right around that corner. As you can see back here, I went ahead and took my seatbelt and I just wrapped it in some tape, and then that way it wasn't like clinking and clanking down there. And I went ahead and tucked it in the back over there, which has a nice little space down there. It doesn't move around or anything like that, and you can put all the panels back on and you're good to go. As far as this piece goes right here, you're gonna go ahead and push that down and put this all the way down right here for the fitment that you're gonna do. All right, now all back together, 10 up here, 10 up here, and then all just the little clips down here, getting this portion back on, real pain in the butt. You're gonna go ahead and jump over to the other side. You're gonna do the same thing and be popping this off and just centering it up just like this, and tucking your seatbelt back there just like you saw me do. But the only difference in this side is instead of that little L bracket, remember at the last video we made this L bracket, this is gonna be the one bolt I showed you, the one that you actually keep from here. This is just gonna be holding your seatbelt on right down there. You're gonna take that off to fill that gap right there. You're gonna get a couple washers to make thick enough to make that happen, and that's what you're gonna use to connect the bottom of the bracket bar. So now that we got the bolt all prepared down here, we have all the other ones up front. We're gonna go ahead and grab those, bring the harness bar in here, and we're gonna go ahead and start setting it up. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and grab your two lower bars and you're gonna set them in here for right now. Since we went ahead and just got the stock bolt already, remember this is the original stock bolt for this side on the bottom. It does have that little space there, so I want to add a couple washers, gap that up like that, and we're gonna go down there and we're gonna connect that up.
I can feel your energy pulsating down my spine. I am not the enemy.
So jumping over to the other side now that we have that one over there loosely put in. Now this is where you're gonna use your L bracket down here, where you're just gonna connect this hole right onto the other side just like that. You will need a bolt to go through there though, and that's why we went ahead and got that M10 bolt with a couple washers and a lock nut. I'm gonna go ahead and put that through now, and then we're gonna loosely put that together. Okay, and with that, go ahead and connect it through like that, nice and loose, so you can still move it around. We're gonna go ahead and jump over there and grab the harness bar for the top. All right, so coming over to the main portion of the harness bar over here, you're gonna go ahead and grab all of your washers so you can gap this thing up, as well as the two spacers that were provided in the universal kit that came with. And then you're gonna go ahead and grab your 2 7/16. Now I do recommend using two people to do this, and that way you can put the bolts and washers on both sides evenly, and then you guys can connect them at the same time and adjust it if needed. Okay, and there we go. Got it all hanging here nice and loose over here. You still have your 8mm Allen keys nice and loose. It looks like it's making some really good clearance right here. I'll do some slight adjustments as we go. But I went ahead and used 5 washers and the spacer for each side, and it seemed to work perfect. So 5 spacers, maybe 6 depending, and that little spacer that it comes with the universal kit, and they both fit perfectly even on both sides. But to go ahead and get this thing up, and then I can start adjusting everything, you're gonna go ahead and take your bars and you're gonna connect these, which you'll see me do in a second here. To get prepared with tools though, for starters, for the very up top bolt up here on both sides, you're gonna need your 16mm socket. And then for the bolts that are right here for each side of this, you're gonna need a 13 and you're gonna need a 14. Okay, and there's that one. It was a little easier with already getting it in, but you're gonna put the bolt onto the outside, washer on both sides for it right there. And then you're just gonna hand tighten that on there just like everything else is hand tight, and that way you can still have some adjustability. So let's jump to the other side and connect that one real quick. Right, now that we have the corners nice and loose over here, we've put these on nice and loose as well as the lower bars. First thing we're gonna do is tighten, is we're gonna go to this 14mm side here and a 13 on the other side. Tighten these up fully on both sides. Jump down, hit your 14 over here, as well as your M10 bolt that you got from Ace. You're gonna tighten that one down onto the bracket. After those are tight, you can actually get your 17mm wrench and you can break this nut right here. There's one on top and bottom of each of these, because this is a leveling thing. So to get this bar perfectly even, as you can see, I already started messing with it just to try to see how even I can get it. I'm gonna have to go down with that side a little bit because I already went up too high. But what it does is these spin in like this or outwards, so it goes up and down, and you can level it to be perfect for yourself. All right, just kidding. This is actually a 17 up here, and then you have an 18mm on the nut down there that you need to break. So you can go ahead and twist this up and down. I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and then get this one perfectly level so we can strap this up. All right, so after you've adjusted your bars up and down to get that even bar all the way across, you can go ahead and tighten the nuts back down right here. Just crank them on. Jump up there and tighten your corners over here in the very top. And then finally get your 8mm and go ahead and tighten down your 8mm Allen keys on both sides. And then everything will be 100% secure, and we'll get right into connecting the harnesses now. She is 8mm tightened down, 16 got finished up, everything's adjusted. It is extremely secure, as you can see over here. Earthquake test. And now we're gonna go and throw the straps back over here, and we'll disconnect them and get them all connected up and show you how to do that. So for starters, you're gonna go ahead and grab your strap. You got your little hook right here. You're gonna go ahead and just like basic here, just kind of take this thing apart. As soon as you get a couple done, you'll be able to just slide that piece right off. Alright, so after you disconnect your hook, you're going to have just this little piece right here remaining on this. If this is your first time, this is how it's hooked up. We're just going to go, obviously, under the bar here. You're going to go under and over one time, and then you're going to take this piece and slide this up in between the bar and the actual seat. From there, with this with this strap still under, you're going to go under the bar and over right over the top, going right back under into the strap right where you came out, and then going over again. Just like that. And you're going to go ahead and tighten up your slack. Now from here, there's one more position you're going to do, which will be locking it in. So from here, since it's still easy access to adjust this, you're going to go ahead and bring this forwards and backwards with somebody either in your seat or if you know where it's already going to be marked. And then we'll go to this last move right here. Alright, so now with mine all adjusted up to the front area, I'm going to be doing the last move to lock this thing in. You're just going to take the excess right here, and one more time you're going to go over the top and right through the back side here, going down it. Now before I tighten this, as you saw, I kind of loosened it a little bit. So what I'll be doing is pulling this back tight under it and getting it nice and tight against the bar, and then finally pulling it like that. Pulling on both sides to make sure it's secure, and that's it. So we'll take this last piece and we'll show you how to wrap it up. Alright, now down to the last step here. All you're going to be doing is getting rid of this excess. So what we're going to want to do is get a couple zip ties on deck, and that way you can, after wrapping this, you can zip tie this thing up. You're just going to take it and throw it over this bar and tuck it under. After doing the other side, you definitely are going to want to get this thing as tight as possible at the very beginning, so definitely take time to make sure there's no gap there when you start rolling it. And just holding this thing as tight as possible all the way through. And that way it's nice and clean, and we'll throw a zip tie through it. After absolutely killing your forearms, you're going to take this zip tie here. You're just going to go through the bottom. Zip tie this thing off, and that way it stays nice and tight up on here. Alright, perfect. And there it is. As you guys can see, I did throw 2 zip ties on it. It's nice and tight there, tight here. Adjusted to the front before doing all of that. Now I'll jump to the other side and just knock this out. And there it is, all done and done. As you can see, we have both sides connected. All these wrapped up real nice and tight with the zip ties. Your actual little piece right here sits right on top of there, which is protected by the strap so it won't scratch up the paint. Both sides, all the way across there. Super happy with that. Go ahead and jump up to the front though. Just double check our fitment and make sure we're good to go. And that will be that. Boom, and there it is. As you guys can see, I'm sitting in the seat right now. Got the harnesses all secured over the shoulders, perfectly adjusted, connected to the harness bar in the rear, as well as that harness bar successfully installed with all the proper bolts, washers, and everything that you need to get that done. If you did have any further questions about anything, please do comment section below. I'll answer that as soon as possible. Besides that, share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next video.